Today is the 12th day of racing for the riders in the Tour de France. There are 151 of them still survive of the 198 who signed in Holland. And the 3 Australians are still there, Pat Jonker, Neal Stevens and Scott Sunderland as well. Overall, the lead is held by the Dane Bjarne Riis. He's 40 seconds in front of Evgeny Berzin, and Tony Rominger is third. And before we go out on the road to Le Puy-en-Velay, a ride of 89 miles through stunning scenery today, let's join Paul Sherwin, who's going to tell us more about the German Telekom team.
Team Telekom have undergone a remarkable transformation over the last 12 months. In 1995, they were surprised and disappointed to only get selection for the Tour de France in a mixed team with ZG Mobili. Despite only having 6 members in the race, they still came away with 2-stage victories for Erik Zabel. The addition of Bjarne Riis during the winter and the emergence of rising star Jan Ullrich has changed the outlook of the team. The confidence of 32-year-old Riis has proved instrumental in the change of attitude of the Telekom team. After finishing 5th and 3rd in the last 2 tours, his message was he can win the Tour de France.
Yeah, actually he said it even in the winter time, you know, when we met him first time, and we had a team meeting in November and he signed a contract and he was like, okay, my only goal is to win the Tour de France, and everybody was a little bit, well, yes, we try to help as good as we can, but and then, yeah, we had a team meeting again at the first stage in the Netherlands, and he stood up and he said, okay, this is a team, I think it's a really good team, and if you do everything for me, I try to do everything to win the Tour, and I really hope we can work really good together. And everybody was still a little bit, well, maybe not, but you know, we got to believe him anyway. I mean, he's the team leader.
For the moment, Riis is keeping his word. He's currently leading the race by 40 seconds. But Team Telekom also have Erik Zabel leading the green jersey competition, and rising star Jan Ullrich lying in 5th place. This kind of success is pushing the levels of endurance even higher, especially for the team workers who have to respond to all the attacks, keeping Bjarne Riis in their slipstream so that he can conserve as much energy as possible for the great battles that lie ahead in the mountains.
And the Telekom team really do have the work cut out now, but what a marvellous tour they are having. On the Col de la Chante now at 82.5 kilometres covered, and this a climb of some 16 kilometres, second category, and a little breakaway settling in nicely now. It went clear right out at the start today on the Côte du Pin after some 10 kilometres. And in this breakaway we have Danny Nelson sitting at the back, also here Laurent Roux of the TVM team and his teammate Jesper Skibby. The gap is slowly building. In fact, in that breakaway there are 6 nations represented and 7 different teams, and with 7 teams up there, it's unlikely that this breakaway will be caught. There's nobody in it who are going to seriously affect the overall standings. Jesper Skibby lies 30th overall, but he's almost 28 minutes back, and Pascal Rashad, that was the rider just sitting off the back there riding no-handed, he's 44 minutes off the pace from Switzerland. And so it's a day that the Telekom team are not going to commit suicide trying to chase down that breakaway. They'll leave it to others if they want to attack. And we move on now to the second sprint at Le Mostier-sur-Gazeille. And this second sprint coming at about 124 kilometres into the stage. And it's been won by Laurent Roux ahead of Erik Breukink and Jesper Skibby. The breakaway still clear. Now, this is a great pastime if you've got a head for heights. And if you haven't, well, that's how to get rid of it. As the race goes by, well timed, as the leaders have gone by, our little friend on the bungee has dived off the top of that beautiful aqueduct or viaduct, I think it was, as we're watching now an attack here by Laurent Roux, who's trying to get away, but there is a reaction. Laurent Roux has been quite a find in the race this year for TVM, and now in the area where he lives. Another counter-attack from the onset, so Melchior Mauri is digging deep as well. But people are paying attention in this breakaway as they try to just keep a tight control. Look at that for the peloton in a long, long, thin line. They are beginning to pick up the pace a little bit now. The gap is down to around about 13 minutes, so they are closing in, believe it or not. As we're now seeing Pascal Rashad. Now, this rider is an opportunist if ever there was one. A chance to break away for Rashad. He'll always take it. Quickly marked by Danny Nelson, but this breakaway under pressure now. Erik Breukink's number 83. And the Polti rider, Mirko Gualdi, trying to get onto the back wheel. It looks as though this move by Rashad has failed. Nelson has caught him, the current world amateur champion. The last time we will see that title, because now it's pure open racing, as we will see in the upcoming Olympic Games in Atlanta. And the Bliss is the bunch here, passing under the banner at Le Monestier-sur-Gazaille. Not interested in the points either for the green jersey, because only the first 3 riders over the line receive points. And this field just about trying to penetrate something into the inroads of the big lead built up by that leading group of some 9 men. Melchior Maury nears the camera in the pink. Far side, Rolf Sorensen. The pace being set by Pascal Rashad. And now we're deep into the heart of Le Puy. A beautiful town, this. A nasty little a surprise for the riders over these last few kilometres. Very undulating roads indeed. Good opportunity to split this breakaway up, but they haven't been able to do that. 2 kilometres to go to the finishing line now, and this looks as though it's going to go down to a tight sprint finish, as the riders are settling in for what is certain to be a sprint now. Yes, Bastille, the TVM boys have got all the riders here to handle the affair if they can get it together. And Danny Nelson, who's tried hard from day one to win a stage. Skibby's got his back wheel. Rashad is coming as well. Nelson is going for it now. Skibby dreaming of it. And on the far right is Pascal Rashad. Rashad, can he read the brakes, this rider? When he gets in them, he usually finishes it off with a victory. He's going to get the win. Pascal Rashad, the last time he won a stage in the Tour de France, 1989 at Briançon. Now he's got the victory. Pascal Rashad, this is how he did it, and it came very, very easily in the end. This is Rashad's 6th Tour de France since 1988. On 3 occasions, he's never reached the finish, but on another occasion, he did win a stage. Pascal Rashad gets the victory. He finishes just in front of Jesper Skibby, and this is the main field coming in, and the best part of some 15 minutes has slipped by. Now can Erik Zabel finish it off? He's lying on the wheels of the GAN riders. In fact, he shut off our camera to the right, I think, Erik Zabel. And Zabel is, there he is, just tucked into the picture. He's going to win easily here. Zabel gets some points towards that green jersey, and that will be a nice little bit of safety in the bank for him, but it's looking pretty hot that he's going to win that jersey now. Overall, Rashad is the winner. Jesper Skibby in the same time, and then a few tailed off in the sprint. Eric Breukink at 3 seconds, for example. Zabel bringing the peloton in some 15 minutes late. Bjarne Riis keeps his yellow jersey. Miguel Indurain lies in 8th place, by the way, and he is now 4 minutes 38 seconds behind. And it's now exactly a week since Miguel Indurain lost that time on the climb to Les Arcs, and during that week he's been a very quiet man in the peloton. Well, if he's going to win this tour, he's got to make his move pretty soon. So last night, Paul Schoen went to his hotel. Paul, who's ridden the Tour de France alongside Miguel Indurain, asked him the questions that we all want to know the answers to.
Bon, Miguel, maintenant, il reste 9 jours pour le Tour de France. Est-ce que vous avez récupéré de la défaillance que vous avez eue la semaine passée?
Sí, yo espero, ¿no? Espero el poder recuperar esa diferencia, sobre todo de la pájara de Les Arcs y la contrarreloj de Val-d'Isère. Es la máxima diferencia. Confío, sobre todo con el sol, que venga, que haga calor. Es una buena señal para mí, para mi músculo, que una semana bajo el agua, bajo el frío, pues están un poco todavía doloridos.
Est-ce que c'était difficile de finir l'étape? On vous avait vu beaucoup à la peine dans la dernière montée quand vous avez explosé.
No, difícil acabar, ¿no? Era una etapa que iba bien, iba con fuerza. Tenía pensado atacar, porque la Madeleine y el Roseland he pasado bien. Y tenía pensado atacar los últimos 5 kilómetros, pero no sé, problema de frío o problema de... porque comer y beber lo he hecho bien. Entonces ha sido... En 2 kilómetros he sentido las piernas mal, las piernas vacías, no podía más. Justo llegar a meta, no sufrimiento porque no tenía fuerza, pero me costaba mucho y veía que perdía tiempo.
Et le soir, quand vous avez arrivé, est-ce que vous étiez déçu ou vous étiez fâché parce que c'était la cause de le temps ou quelque chose comme ça?
Un poco desilusionado, sí, porque he visto que el Tour pues, está difícil, 5 minutos casi de tiempo, pero tengo que seguir trabajando. Al día siguiente he hecho una buena contrarreloj, he hecho entre los primeros, no para ganar, porque el músculo estaba pues bastante limpio de energía, pero he estado bien. Al día siguiente en Sestriere también he estado con el grupo de cabeza, entonces visto que no es problema físico, sino que es problema pues de momento, del frío o cualquier cosa, ¿no? Entonces espero el poder recuperar.
Et maintenant, c'est Bjarne Riis, le maillot jaune de le Tour de France. Comment vous le voyez? Pour le moment, il est très fort.
Sí, va très fort. También va el equipo Telekom, va muy fuerte. También tiene un sprinter, tiene grandes corredores y tiene un buen equipo. Riis está bien. Ya ha hecho quinto en el Tour, ha hecho tercero el año pasado. Es un corredor que está fuerte, se mueve bien en la crono, en la montaña, tiene experiencia y está con mucha ilusión. Entonces es el máximo rival en este momento.
Mais c'est aussi difficile parce que pour l'équipe Telekom, c'est la première fois qu'ils sont dans la position de défendre le maillot jaune. Est-ce que vous pensez peut-être un jour ils vont craquer?
Espero, sí, espero que pasen problemas. El problema es que están defendiendo muy bien. Son profesionales, no han estado nunca en esa cosa de defender un líder en el Tour de Francia, pero sí igual en otras carreras. Son profesionales, todos los corredores tienen ya una experiencia importante, pero el Tour siempre es diferente, entonces espero que un día paguen ese esfuerzo.
Et vous, est-ce que vous avez récupéré toutes les forces que vous avez normalement dans le mois de juillet?
Voy recuperando, todavía el músculo tiene agua, tiene frío, está cada día un poco mejor con este buen tiempo. Espero que conforme vayan pasando días y sobre todo en el Macizo Central haga calor y sentirme bien.
L'autre jour, j'ai parlé avec Pedro Delgado et il m'a dit, moi, je suis sûr que Miguel Indurain, il peut encore gagner le Tour de France. Vous êtes de cet avis?
Hombre, está difícil, está complicado, pero tengo ilusión. Estoy bien físicamente, no tengo problemas de catarro, de gripe, eso sí, y a seguir trabajando, esperar el momento oportuno para poder atacar al líder.
And stage 13 on the 13th of July, Le Puy-en-Velay to Superbès-Saucy, and Superbès is a nasty little climb to finish a long day of racing of 177 kilometres. A series of little hills will take the riders up to the final finishing line, and they really could be very decisive indeed. In the competitions, the green jersey on the shoulder at the moment of Eric Zabel, who is looking very strong in the sprints now. Frédéric Moncassin, from whom he took the jersey, is still challenging. In the King of the Mountains, Richard Virenque has no challengers, as indeed he has not had any challenges for the past 3 years, it seems. He's now set to complete a hat-trick of wins in the King of the Mountains, but of course the Pyrenees are still to come. But a breakaway today is spoiling Eric Zabel's progress in that race for the green jersey, because it's been other riders snipping up the small bonuses and they have no interest in the point score at all. There's 14 riders here. They had a lead of over 5 minutes, but they are being caught. And there is plenty of chance now on the little stepping stones up to the finish at Superbès. They will be wiped out. Number 148 is Paolo Salvadelli of the Roslotto team. But now, as Chris Boardman sets the pace at the front, they are being picked up by a strong chase back in the main field. Laurent Brochard is the rider third down the line. Claudio Chiappucci is in the move as well, but there is a strong reaction coming now. Stefano Catai to the right of our picture, Luc Leblanc at the head of this chase group here. And this is going to be a very interesting finish now, because there is not a real chance of success, and yet there is, if you think about the fact that they've had the lead, even though they're losing it now. Abraham Olano is in that group as well down there. The main field is completely fragmented under the pressure of what are very difficult roads here. They're heavy roads where the riders really can't get themselves a real shot at the finish at Superbès. The Park team cars on the right now, as the break starts to get reeled in. Richard Virenque and Luc Leblanc are doing the damage. Virenque finding himself with few riders willing to come out and play in the high mountains. They just seem to surrender as soon as Virenque starts sprinting for the summit of the big peaks, and he chips away at winning the small climbs as well, which gives him such a commanding lead overall in the King of the Mountains. There's Miguel Indurain Number 1 on the wheel of the yellow jersey of Bjarne Riis. Indurain having to come back to this group after a puncture a little bit earlier, but he did it very strongly. He seems to have completely recovered from the problem he had, but he's still got an awful lot of time to make up, and Luc Leblanc is making sure he will try and steal a few more seconds, because he's still looking for all the time he lost on the first day for a high overall finish in Paris. He just loves races which finish on top of mountains. Patrick Jonker coming back from the lead group, just slipping away there. And LeBlanc passing another rider down on the inside as well. So the main field are now getting their way through. It's not really the main field, it's a very select advanced bunch, as riders are picked up one after another. The MG Technogym rider who's just been picked up is Michele Bartoli, who was also up front. Richard Virenque, a little bit ungainly when he's out of the saddle, but he certainly gets some speed out of that bicycle. Way in the distance is the finish at Superbès. A long way to go yet for the riders, as Luc Leblanc determined to try and catch them, but the lead car is getting a little bit in the way here. Up towards the front runners now, Rolf Sørensen, number 82, putting on a lot of the pressure. And it looks as though Luc Leblanc is getting across to the last two survivors of the breakaway. Rolf Sørensen is at the front, and I'm not too sure who the other one is, but it could be Claudio Chiappucci. And as we come up alongside, the rider in the lead is in fact Rodriguez of Banesto. Just had the sort of crouched shoulders of Chiappucci there, but it's not. It's Orlando Rodriguez, who was in the breakaway from the outset. As the breakaway is thinned down to just these riders now. Great ride by Leblanc, the same too for Pascal Rashad. They've reached the leaders. Sørensen, the crafty rider he is looking just to make sure who else might come across, because he's wondered what happened to the breakaway that was all around him. And the rider who's also got up, Paolo Salvadelli. And quickly onto his wheel. There's only 5 of them left here now in the wide boulevard finish. Rolf Sørensen leading out. Sørensen, the rider who was robbed so cruelly at the finish at Gap when he was washed away to nowhere. What a great camera shot that was as he swings around. Very tortuous approach to the line here. There'll be a sharp left-hander. Here it comes. Sørensen round, followed by Rodriguez in second place. Richard Virenque, who's come up to this lead group, has seen his chance slip away. He sits up in disgust. Rolf Sørensen gets the victory. Rodriguez second. Virenque will have to be content with third. All given the same time, and LeBlanc fourth. Now the race from the rest here. Chris Boardman has been joined by some of the elite now as he makes the corner first. Miguel Indurain takes over the running from him. Bjarne Riis is in the group, so he loses no time. Not to the men that matter. Indurain will get 6th and Boardman takes 7th. There's the stage result. Sørensen finishing ahead of Rodriguez and Virenque. LeBlanc gets the 4th place. So Rolf Sørensen deservedly gets his stage win, as he did at Montpellier a couple of tours ago. Overall, Riis in front of Olano. And so to stage 14, Bastille Day in France. A year ago, it was Laurent Jalabert in the green jersey who was winning the stage. He's now out of the tour, but Eric Zabel at Lac Chambon is continuing to add up the points in his lead in the jersey competition. His battler is Frédéric Moncassin, who got the 2nd place. It's a perfect day today, 30 degrees Celsius forecast, very, very hot, and really there is no wind at all as we join this breakaway 20 kilometres from the finish. One scare during the day on the Col de la Croix-Meuron. In fact, Virenque and Riis escaped on the descent, but common sense prevailed and the race regrouped at the front. We now have this breakaway that's trying to stay away, and I think it should stay away now until the finish. It's a question of which one will win. It's a nasty uphill finish here. Sestriere have their man in the breakaway today as well. And there he is, coming back to check out the pack. Bruno Boscodin is still searching for that elusive stage win. He hasn't got it yet. And the main field, there's something like 3.5 minutes back at the moment. The Telekom team having to do all the work, led by Rolf Aldag. Christian Hen, the champion, the German champion, in a white jersey, but he's very much a part of the Telekom team. Both arms bandaged there for Jan Ullrich after his crashes. There is the green jersey wearer, Eric Zabel, all at or near the front of the peloton. There's the Queen Bee himself, Bjarne Riis, and Miguel Indurain never far from his side. It must be very strange for Indurain to be shadowing the yellow jersey in a Tour de France at this stage of the event. And confirmation too of that breakaway, it is 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Also in that group we have Marco Gualdi, Bo Hamburger, Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, Bourguignon and Didier Roux of the Gan team. So that's the escape. They are now in the town of Toul, but there is still a way to go because we climb the hill which overlooks the town. In fact, under the 3-kilometer banner, an attack by Bo Hamburger of TVM. Hamburger has made his move, and there doesn't look to be hardly any resistance. That's Laurent Madouas on the far right, and he was waiting for somebody else to go. He found nobody was. Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov now chasing down Laurent Madouas. But I wonder if they know the finish here, because it's quite a little climb that climbs right up to the line. The crowd are up there. They can probably see from a great distance the enactment here of the tactics. Now it's little Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, the sprinter in the group, reaching out to catch up with Bo Hamburger. He's got him. Now, if the two of them can get together on the climb, there is a chance. There is Roux of Gan, trying to head up the chase. A little look over his shoulder, and straight away Bo Hamburger moves to the right of Abdu-Japarov. They pass under the 2 kilometers to go banner. Well, nobody really expected Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov to win a stage today, especially with the uphill finish to come. But he's now put himself in with a chance, and in fact he's launching himself at it. He's gone. He must have taken a good look at Bo Hamburger there and decided the rider didn't have it. The Danes are having a great tour. There are only 5 Danes in this race. Danish television is giving it 100 hours of coverage, and almost daily, in fact I would say daily, we see one of those 5 Danes in the thick of the action when they know they're live on television. And that was Bo Hamburger, but I think, and I dread to say it, but he's fried, as Hamburger drops back, and he now leaves Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov out in the lead. Well, if he wins this, this is going to go down rather special in the annals of Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, who is normally the sprinter of the Tour de France, and this year we thought he might have had a chance to equal Sean Kelly's victories of 4 green jerseys over the years, but it doesn't look like he's going to challenge for that, as Madouas now has been joined by the Polti rider Marco Gualdi down there. Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov has gone. Gualdi attacks Madouas. It looks as though Madouas is up to that. Madouas marks, but Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, his face belying the pain as he absolutely flies up to the finish here. The road surface is excellent. I think the town of Toul actually resurfaced the road for the finish. And now you'll see the huge crowd welcome a very popular man in the Tour de France, Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov. 50 meters to go. I wonder if he'll look across to see if he's safe. No, he knows he's safe. This will be an extraordinary victory for Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov. He won his first stage of the Tour de France in 1991 in Lyon. The second place is going to Gualdi. He just gets in ahead of Laurent Madouas, who looks over in time to see Roux taking 4th place, and he'll be about 15-16 seconds down. And no sign of Bo Hamburger, who was dropped on the climb. So Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov gets what is in effect his 9th stage win of the Tour de France. He's won at Lyon, Reims, Dinard, Bordeaux, the Champs-Élysées, Armentières, Lac-Saint-Poix. Last year, of course, he got the win again on the Champs-Élysées, and now he's got the stage win here at Toul. Overall, no change at all. And while the riders make their way today towards Villeneuve-sur-Lot, we believe there are still 5 can win this tour. That's how open it is. Let's assess their chances. Bjarne Riis's biggest asset is he came to this race believing he could win it. His confidence and morale couldn't be higher. He climbs and he time trials well and has made himself the man to beat. Current odds, the bookies make him the hot favourite. Abraham Olano, the first Spanish World Road Race champion, has finished 2nd in the Tour of Spain last year and 3rd in last month's Tour of Italy. He's never finished a Tour de France, but he's matured this season. His assets are, he climbs and time trials better than most. Current odds, 6-1. Evgeny Berzin is a fighter, but he's also susceptible to too many bad days. However, if he can get to within a minute of the leaders after the mountains, he could win this race in the time trial on Saturday. The current odds, 10-1. Tony Rominger has yet to prove himself to be anything other than a follower. He time trials with the best, but is handicapped now with the higher place of his teammate Olano. He also has an injured right knee, and his hopes are fading. His current odds, though, 7-1. Miguel Indurain has the most to do, but everyone knows his ability after 5 wins. Champions hate to lose races, and Miguel will do his best not to lose this one, but he will have to ride better than ever before. His current odds, he's now second favourite at 11-4. But those odds indicating, in fact, many people still think Miguel Indurain can win this year's Tour de France. Today we're racing on through the hot roads down to Villeneuve-sur-Lot without, I'm afraid, the American George Hincapie, who crashed yesterday and has been pulled out by the team doctors because he hit his head. He should be okay, and he is already selected for the Olympic Games. We join the action now. There's a breakaway establishing at the front of 6 riders, and that is the time gap, 8 minutes 29 seconds. Well, so far this has been a great Tour de France for the people of Denmark. They've enjoyed their men in the action all of the days. Let's now join Gary Imlach and find out more about the 5 riders from Denmark.
To the roll of honour that includes Lager, Lurpak and the Laudrup brothers, the Danes can now add Holm, Hamburger, Skibby, Sorensen and Riis. There are only 5 of them, but the Danes are having a great tour.
Bjarne Riis, the winner of the stage, 46 kilometres today. It's done an awful lot of damage.
Right now in Denmark, if you compare football, the cycling is on the same level, if it's not a little bit higher now.
Sorensen gets it on the line. Rodriguez is second, Berenk is third, Leblanc is fourth, and that was a deserved result for Rolf Sorensen.
Very, very good for Danish cycling, and I think we've reached the peak, and we have to do something about it.
So far in the Tour, there have been stage wins for Riis and Sorensen, second place for Skibby, Holm working hard to keep his leader in the yellow jersey, and all of them appearing at the front on just about every stage for a huge TV audience back home.
It's craziness in Denmark now. People leave their work. We hear from about theatre rehearsals which are interrupted, film shootings interrupted. People want to see the race.
Han kører, Viren kommer, og Sørensen holder, det bliver sejr til Rolf Sørensen.
The minority of the Danish population not watching the 5 hours of live TV coverage a day seems to have decided to see it in person, and they're having a pretty good tour too. The question remains, though, how so few riders can have such a great impact on the race.
I don't know, I just think we are lucky to have a very good generation of riders, and it's great.
I have no idea, really. I think it's just luck.
Of course, the other question is where Jesper Skibby got his haircut and whether he took his helmet off during it. But all that matters to the Danish fans is winning their first Tour.
And it's great to hear too that the Danish people have voted cycling their #1 sport of the moment. Back to the breakaway now. Neal Stevens taking a drink, and the best placed rider in this breakaway is Michele Bartoli. He's 29th, but he's more than 28 minutes behind the leader, so there's a real chance that nobody will be seeing this breakaway today. That's an attack there by Massimo Podenzana, former double champion of Italy, but not a prolific winner at all. Now trying to show them the way home here for what would be his first ever stage win in the Tour de France. He lies 69 minutes behind in 80th place overall, and he's gone. Stevens was looking over his shoulder to see if anybody was going to take it up. Certainly Peter van Petegem wasn't. He's dropped to the back of the group, and a counter-attack coming straight away. This looks like Bartoli. Bartoli was the most likely man to succeed, but he's immediately been countered by Francois Lemarchand. The other riders in this breakaway were Guiarini. He's the only other rider, in fact, I haven't mentioned. And Guiarini sitting midway down the race now. That's him tacked on the back, actually. Neal Stevens has gone. He's gone very quickly into this round. In fact, his back wheel's locked up. I don't know what's happened there. I think he's hit the lamppost. In fact, Neal Stevens went into that corner so quickly, his tyres come off. Now, whether that was a fault of the tyre coming off before the crash or as a result of the way his back wheel was locked up, either way, he misjudged the angle of that corner, and rather lucky that those plastic barriers were in position. Stevens there looking good to have got across. What bad luck that was for Neal Stevens. He was beaten to Montpellier by Rolf Sorensen last time, and now he's lost his chance of a stage win here. He's having a very good season indeed. Already picked for the Australians for the Olympic Games. Well, that's something that Podenzana can't vouch for. He's Italian and he's heading up to his first ever win in a Tour de France now. In fact, Podenzana rode his first Tour only last year and he finished a very creditable 26th. Now, can anybody bring him back? There he is. They just can't quite reach him. Massimo Podenzana is going to get the victory here in what is stiflingly warm conditions. As he comes up to the line now, he's going to enjoy the next few moments. He broke away, he chose the right moment. Neal Stevens tried to reach him and was unable to get across to him. And that was rather sad for the Australian, because the second place now is going to go to Guirini. First time rider in the Tour, he gets second. And the third place, well, it's a sprint here between Van Petegem and Bartoli. Van Petegem is the TVM rider and looks to be going clear. So he will get third and Bartoli fourth. And the lone figure of Neal Stevens, it's almost 2 minutes on the clock there, but Stevens has got a new bike and he'll be very, very disappointed with that sixth place, will Neal Stevens. The victory going to the Italian Massimo Podenzana at Villeneuve-sur-Lot. The man who certainly lost out, Neal Stevens, so let's join Paul Sherwin, who's now with him, the man they call Steve-O.
Well, Steve-O, you looked pretty good in the break there. In fact, we thought you looked one of the freshest.
Yeah, you know, like I said to Podenzana just out the road, you know, like I didn't care who won, but the TVM guy was sitting on all day. I'm sure he wasn't going to win. And when he took off, I just sort of sat behind the TVM guy. And then when Bartoli went, I tried to go with him, and unfortunately, my tyre come off of one of the roundabouts, and down I went.
It looked as if you went into the roundabout a little bit too quickly there, and that may be what the problem was.
Yeah, you know, I think the glue should hold on though, but anyway, I'll have a bit of word to the mechanic later on this evening and see what he says.
Well, Bjarne Riis still the overall leader. Here's Gary Imlach with rumour on the street.
Bjarne, everybody's looking forward to tomorrow's stage. You said that you're looking to win it by 2 minutes. Do you still feel as good?
Well, 2 minutes, you never know what happens, but I would like to have 2 minutes to the others, that's for sure. I do what I can and we have to see what happens.
Is it your kind of stage tomorrow with that huge finish?
If I do a good race, yes.
Well, that's the answer to everything. They'd all love to do a good race. Lord's Otercam was last used 2 years ago. It is a very difficult climb. If you're watching 2 years ago, you remember it was covered in fog. We never really got a good look at it at all. Well, it's in sunshine today. There's only one survivor left of an early breakaway, and that is L'Enroux of the TVM. He's proving to be a very aggressive rider this year, making a lot of friends because of it. But the chase down is now beginning as we start the lower slopes of Otercam. The main field is more or less together here. Original breakaways all swept up. It's been a good day of racing by just a handful of riders trying to slip away, but they haven't managed to do that. The team car on the left of our picture there was TVM, which means we must be coming up on L'Enroux. The indications are the gaps have been closing all of the time. Miguel Indurain, who was on the attack with Luc Leblanc 2 years ago, conceded the stage win, but really did kill off all of his rivals, sitting there near the front of the pack. Abraham Olano, the world champion, he's a standout, as we can see on the far left. An attack by Alex Zülle. This is the first serious attack. It comes with 10 kilometers to climb to the summit, and Alex Zülle is going to give it a go. If he gets away and gets the time, he will be back in the frame in a big way here. Zülle grits his teeth and accelerates away. Now, what sort of a reaction will this claim? The first man that Zülle will see will be the little petite climber, L'Enroux of France. There he is, and here comes Zülle. So Laurent has blown to the wall because the rest of the race is just behind, and Zülle goes straight by him. Laurent Brochard, Richard Virenque at the front, Miguel Indurain still there, so too Jan Ullrich. What a surprise Jan Ullrich is turning out to be. And it looks as though the tempo, they've just outridden Zülle and brought him straight back into the pack. And I think the man that done the damage was Miguel Indurain himself, so the first and second in last year's Tour de France are right on the front now. And one or two riders beginning to find the sting in the tail here, not least Tony Rominger. There's Evgeny Berzin, who's been rather quiet since he got his good hiding on the road to Sestriere in the Alps. But maybe he'll come back into his own on this climb. Nobody willing. Bjarne Riis seems to be moving up and down the race group here, taking a good look at the riders in the front. There he is, number 21. He's just looked across at one or two of the faces. He keeps on doing it. He's riding alongside the man I think he might think will attack. 111 there, Luc Leblanc. Abraham Olano, Pyotr Ugrimov, Evgeny Berzin, all of the big names are still in this front group. Going off from the side of Virenque is Bjarne Riis, and now from Ullrich. Ullrich looks across at him, and you know, Ullrich has sort of sat back there and allowed his team captain to accelerate. And well, having said that, they've come back to him, and the rider who's brought them back is Miguel Indurain. Today we have got to see the start of the return of Miguel if he's going to get back all of the time he has lost. The majority of it, of course, coming on the climb to Les Arcs more than a week ago. The yellow jersey, it's a fine sight when the man who leads the Tour has all of the strength to dominate the front of the main group, as he's doing here. There's nobody in front of this group now. Indurain trying desperately to ride alongside him and remind him just who he is. Richard Virenque takes a good look at them. He continues to build his lead in the King of the Mountains. Yet another brutal acceleration by Bjarne Riis. And still nothing. They just follow his wheel. Oh, this time he's pulled about 7 riders clear here. Riis, he's masking Miguel. And now the motorcycle's masking my view, but he's gone out the way, and we're seeing, oh, Berzin's in trouble. He's falling back from the back wheel of Escartine, the green shorty rider in front. So Berzin again caught in the mountains, and this only the first day in the Pyrenees. The brutal days still lie ahead, the hardest days of the Tour undoubtedly, with the longest days to come to Pamplona, where we will actually race past the home of Miguel. Another attack by Bjarne Riis. This has got to be his 3rd or 4th attack here. He keeps on softening them up, but they still claw their way back up. This he's keeping on a little bit longer because he's spread the whole field in this breakaway as Bjarne Riis goes once more. I think it's Laurent Dufaux who's trying to get up to him. And Indurain is slipping down. He's lost the grip of first wheel up by the leader, Bjarne Riis. Indurain is moving back down the field here, and I wonder if he's cracked again. Bjarne Riis continues to stay out of the saddle and keep on the pressure. Indurain has cracked. He's being caught here by Luttenberger and by Abraham Olano. The 2 Spanish riders, 1st and 2nd in the World Championships and the World Team Time Trial last year, are now detached from the lead group by an inspired Bjarne Riis. This yellow jersey has done all of the attacking, and he's watched the riders tire one by one. He now has just 3 riders left behind him to worry about. There's still a long way to climb here. There's Dufaux, the 2 Festina riders, Richard Virenque, Luc Leblanc. Memories now a little bit foggy of 2 years ago when he won the climb here. And it looks now as though the yellow jersey is playing the cards which will win in the Tour de France, because he really is showing them who is the best man. 5 kilometers to climb. He can pick up an awful lot of time, but then again he can also blow up. As Bjarne Riis heads up towards the summit. And the lone figure here of number 166, that is Leonardo Pipoli. And Laurent Dufaux having his best tour as well. Rocking and rolling a little bit. Rashad in the chase group now. Where is the... And here he is. I was saying about where's number 1. But Miguel Indurain is now being dispatched in the group that contains his Spanish countryman, Abraham Olano. Indurain, it seems, started this climb with a determination to show either himself or the race he was still very much in it, because he rode right on the front, but he could not take that 3rd or 4th acceleration from Bjarne Riis. He's now under that 5 kilometers to go banner. His lead is nosing up. Bjarne Riis produced something special. And you know, in the story he told journalists just before Christmas, he said he knew how to beat Miguel Indurain. But before I tell you that story, there's Rominger with a bandage on his right knee. He has had 1 or 2 very nasty crashes, and I think that knee is now giving him trouble. He'll be a little bit surprised. He was dropped early on the climb. Now he's coming up behind Indurain, and I think he's going to try and accelerate right by Miguel. Miguel might lift his pace a little bit, but it doesn't look as though he can. Indurain just looks across because the road goes around to the right. Way up in the sky there. But to come back to my story about Bjarne Riis, he did say that he believes that Indurain could only hold his power for so long on the big climbs. If he could allow him just that time, he could then attack him and destroy him. And that's exactly what has happened today. Riis has never had such physical condition as this. He's proving to be a superb wearer of the maillot jaune. He's doing something, in fact, that Miguel Indurain never could do: win a road race stage while riding in the leader's yellow jersey. Indurain, by my notes now, is falling away from this year's Tour de France, and is happening on the entry to his own country in Spain. Rominger, an inspired return to the forward groups here, because now he's coming up on the next group, which contains Lutenberg and I think Abraham Olano. This is the chase group of Bjarne Riis, led by Laurent Dufaux, Richard Virenque, Luc Leblanc. Leonardo Pipoli is the fourth man who's done a good ride to get across. Rominger now the driving power in the chase group, trying to recuperate some of that lost time. They're not going to catch this man though. He won at Sestriere to get the yellow jersey. He's now going to win his first day in the Pyrenees at Hautecam to increase his lead in it. Riis taking the short way around as he climbs up to Hautecam. There's no way back but down the way you come up to this mountain, which stands some 25 kilometers away from the city of Lourdes. Even though you're tired, you just feel so inspired when you know that everybody is behind you. And what class! Virenque, Dufaux, Pipoli sitting here at the back as he rides behind the three Frenchmen, well, two Frenchmen and a Swiss, but three French-speaking riders. A massive crowd here at Hautecam who have followed this most interesting tour these last couple of weeks. And look at this now, a signal from Riis to say, it's me, I'm number one. Determined face on him, he sprints up towards the line. This is going to be one of Bjarne Riis's greatest ever victories now, to win at a stage like this when you wear the maillot jaune, to look at the riders and blow them one by one off your wheel. You know you are the very best. Inside 5 hours for the ride as well. Bjarne Riis gets the victory. He will increase his overall lead by every second he stops over that line, and these riders stay out this side of it. Laurent Dufaux trying to open the sprint, but he'll have a little problem with his own teammate, I think, Richard Virenque, because there are mounting points here as well. Dufaux takes a good look at Virenque, realises he needs the points for the King of the Mountains. He probably won't challenge him, but he wants to conserve time, and he digs deep to find that little extra effort to hang on to Richard Virenque as they race to the line. And Luc Leblanc will have to be settling for fourth place. Virenque comes clear, and Dufaux in the same time gets third. It's a good result for Festina. Luc Leblanc comes over the line in fourth place, and they're almost a minute behind conceded. Tony Rominger is going to be best of the rest with a sixth place finish, but he's going to lose the best part of a minute and a half or more. And just behind him is Jan Ullrich, another fine ride by this youngster who was the 1993 World Amateur Champion. A great sprinter, a great time trialist and a great climber. All the qualities you need to one day win the Tour de France. Miguel Indurain is going to finish in 12th place, a far cry from the second place just behind Luc Leblanc of 2 years ago when he was already in a commanding overall lead. I think it's safe to say now Indurain is not going to win his sixth successive Tour de France, and he'll stay a member of the famous Five Club. The man today, though, is Bjarne Riis. Here he is winning the stage, and now he is with our Paul Sherwin.
7 kilometers to go on the climb today. You dropped to the back of the group. Was that just to check out how everybody was? Then you just went.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to see how they looked in the faces, and most of them didn't look so well. So I tried a few times just to not 100%ly to I attacked, but not 100%ly. And then I saw they were in difficulties, so I tried to win away, and it worked.
You surprised that Indurain cracked?
Well, yes and no. I think on the mountains it didn't look so good until now, and I saw him today in the beginning. He looked a little bit heavy, not so good as the other years. So I'm sorry for him. I would like to have him on the podium with me, but well, it's the race, and I'm sorry for him. I would like if he could win tomorrow.
What a gracious man Bjarne Riis is. He now wins this stage by 49 seconds over Virenque and Laurent Dufaux. Overall, his lead is now up to 2 minutes and 42 seconds over Abraham Olano. Rominger is up to third. And so to the feared 17th stage, the longest stage of the Tour, 163 miles. It crosses the giants of the Pyrenees as we leave France bound for Pamplona. And as we head for Pamplona, here's Gary Imlach with his opinion on the city's most famous pastime.
For those with bull byproduct for brains and a need to prove their manhood, Pamplona is the place to be in July for the running of the bulls. The Festival of Saint-Firmin this year produced no fatalities, except of course for the bulls eventually when they got to the ring. Just the usual mixture of locals and tourists, demonstrating the effects of the usual mixture of sangria and stupidity. The patron saint of gratuitous machismo, Ernest Hemingway, who popularised Saint-Firmin through his novel The Sun Also Rises, has been honoured by Pamplona with a street and a statue named after him. Today, though, all the attention will be on a more local hero. Miguel Indurain was born just a few kilometres from today's finish, and the route goes past his mum and dad's doorstep. Despite the fact that he won't be riding by in the yellow jersey, the locals have done him proud, with banners and a mini grandstand for all his well-wishers. Mind you, as the official drink of the Tour, I don't think Coke will be too thrilled about the catering arrangements.
Well, Gary Imlach, not really a supporter of bull running in Pamplona. As we now join the race, the attack here coming from Neal Stevens. He's gone on over the top of the Col d'Aubisque. And Stevens has gone out very early on today. He certainly isn't a climber, but because of the long stage it is, this is Pascal Hervé going over in second place, and Michele Bartoli. The reason I think that the field have not worried too much about Neal Stevens is because they're scared of the distance and the heat. 36 degrees Celsius forecast, very light winds and very hot indeed. And it will be an easy day on which to destroy yourself with the climbs of the Col du Soulor. Col d'Aubisque now behind us as we head on here to the climb of the Col du Soudet. Stevens has won the climb over the Marie Blanc. This is an outstanding piece of riding by the man we never considered to be a climber, but this is the way the race is going this year. The infighting is already beginning amongst the heads of state of the event. 2 minutes 4 seconds down for Ugrumov, leading over this group. Virenque, Riis and Ugrumov was the order as they went over the top of that climb, and already Riis is beginning to show his strength here and move clear. Indurain is in all sorts of trouble. He has been dropped on the climb of the Soudet and is reported to be almost 2 minutes back. Here's Luc Leblanc, who's climbed his way up to alongside the yellow jersey of Bjarne Riis. Peter Luttenberger is here too, and turning out to be something of a star in the mountains in this year's Tour de France. And also in trouble again, apart from this man here who's now being dropped from that small elite group, Olano was in that group, and so too was Tony Rominger. So Rominger now dropping away from third place overall as well. The whole thing is turning around once again. Indurain, I think at this point now, nobody is any longer surprised seeing him off the back of the groups. Clearly his form is not good. It is sad, though, to think that after all these years we're going home to Miguel Indurain's city and he will not be wearing the leader's yellow jersey. And somebody is applying the pressure at the front of this group as well, and they're taking time out of Indurain all of the way up the climb. We're heading up towards the top of the Porte de l'Arrow, the all category climb. A yellow wig, but not a yellow jersey for Big Mig, and I think he's just turning those pedals over. It's almost something he's doing automatically because he is in serious trouble. And don't forget, these are roads over the years he must have trained many thousands of miles. Massive crowds have turned out. The Basque flag of Spain is down there waving away at the forward elite group, and this I must say, this elite group, which is now picked up Neal Stevens. And in fact, trouble for Virenque. He's just had a flat, but he's changed it very, very quickly, and a very good change it was too. He's not going to panic here because he's still on the tail of the group. Magnificent wheel change as Virenque sprints back up towards the leading pack. Now, as he got back in time to get to the front and snatch the points for the King of the Mountains, Laurent Dufaux, his teammate, who's also riding to a high position overall now, waited for him, is now trying to get him through in time to get the points at the top of the Porte de l'Arrow. Virenque racing through on the inside. It is Bjarne Riis keeping control of the pace at the front. Peter Lutenberger, Escartine, Dufault are the last three riders here. And you know, I think Virenque has got through. He raced straight back up to the front. He should be there in time to go for the maximum points on this all-category climb. This is the situation when the crowd were getting a little bit excited here. Oops-a-daisy. I think Richard Virenque made his feelings known there. Anyway, he's now back on the front as he comes up towards the top of the climb. He's got Piotr Ugrumov and Bjarne Riis are the two riders directly behind him. Laurent Dufault has climbed his way through the group as well. 4 minutes 40 seconds the gap. The Tour de France is right here now. We go away from the Pyrenees tomorrow and race back into the border town of Hendaye, and then we start our way up to the final showdown around Saint-Emilion for the time trial, and then all that remains is the journey to the Champs-Élysées in Paris. The crowd just fanning back as Richard Virenque takes maximum points on the Porte de la Roue to increase his overall lead in the King of the Mountains, and he's pretty much untouchable in that now. He really has not had any challenge for that jersey for 3 years, and he's going to be the man to win it 3 times straight. Well, this is the look of the draw. He's now punctured again on the way down the Porte de la Roue. This time he's going to have a little bit more effort. Maybe lucky for him, the climb itself doesn't have any real descent initially, and he should get back. This long stage of albeit 262 kilometers. And 7 minutes 8 seconds now. So Olano has gone today as well. Indurain has gone on 3 occasions now, and his loss are going to be in double figures when he gets to the finish. As we race in now towards the finish at Pamplona, the field is regrouped at the front. Jan Ullrich is in this group. You know, that young man could be second overall, and he's ridden unselfishly all of the time for his team leader, and yet he's still found the strength to go with the moves. He is in this lead group, and there he is leading the race now, still thinking of Bjarne Riis. Virenque is right there behind him, followed by Peter Lutenberger, who is doing what the Austrians had hoped from him and feature in the Tour de France. Laurent Dufault dropped off to our left, and there's a searing attack. He came from nowhere. Did you see that from Bjarne Riis? He's just shot out of the pack, and that's caused a bit of a reaction. In fact, Dufault has gone after him. Jan Ullrich is chasing him, and I'm not too sure whether that's a wise move, unless he feels with this distance to go, he really should think about getting into the move with Bjarne Riis. Riis has dropped back, and I think it might be Dufault who's kept up the action. As Dufault has gone across to the group. But they've all come back together again, as indeed the yellow jersey goes again. The sharp left-hand corner is heading up towards the finish. Round what is normally a big roundabout, there it is. And now the riders, we've got 2 riders clear here, and I think Dufault has hung on to the back wheel of Bjarne Riis. This slight figure of the Swiss rider who's having a superb tour. This is only his 4th ever Tour de France. He's finished 2 of them, 35th and 19th. He was last year. He's improving all of the time. He looks across at Bjarne Riis. The gap has opened. Escartine has been left at the front of that group. Bjarne Riis has taken up the running now. Another emphatic ride by the Maillot Jaune. He's gaining time over everybody again, except, of course, Laurent Dufault, who's going to hang on and try and take this stage away from the Dane. The Dane has got 2 great stage victories on the road here in this year's Tour. In the mountains, he's come over the longest stage today in the Pyrenees. Is he going to make it 3? 3 very significant stage wins indeed. But he's going to lead out Laurent Dufault, and Dufault isn't a bad finisher either. And in fact, Bjarne Riis puts his head down, but Dufault has still a lot of speed despite the long hours in the saddle today. He gets his first ever stage win, and what a stage win to remember. The sprint for 3rd place, it looks like Richard Virenque being challenged by Jan Ullrich. Jan Ullrich takes him on, Virenque gets it from Ullrich. And so Ullrich's famous sprint blunted a little bit by the distance, and I'm not surprised for that young man. But here's the victory going to Laurent Dufault. Another great day, though, in the life of Bjarne Riis, who will increase his overall lead in the Tour de France and will push Miguel Indurain back into double figures, and no one would have thought that was possible. Here is the sprint from the Rominger group. And really, after 8.5 minutes, the gap, nobody is too interested in the result of that. Indurain made no effort to contest the sprint. He passed his home earlier on, and there was a little grandstand outside. They cheered him by, and he salutes the crowd, and this is a nice gesture of sportsmanship. Coming back to the podium, Bjarne Riis comes back especially to congratulate Miguel Indurain. The overall standings after stage 17, Bjarne Riis 3:59 ahead of his teammate now, Jan Ullrich. Virenque is up to third, and look at this, Indurain 15 minutes down in 11th place. Well, it should be a little bit easier today, just 96 miles on the road to Hendaye. And I should imagine the sight of the sea here in Hendaye will be a source of welcome relief to those remaining in this year's Tour de France. Well, there were many changes over the past 2 days, so let's now update you with all of the jersey competitions. In the green jersey points competition, Eric Zabel is proving an equally obstinate leader and has a lead of 57 points. He leads over the Frenchman Frédéric Moncassin. A high finish today for Zabel, and that could end this competition with 3 days to go. The King of the Mountains is, for a third year, the private domain of Richard Virenque, who is 109 points ahead of Bjarne Riis. And providing Virenque finishes in Paris, he'll become the first triple winner of the competition since Julio Jimenez 30 years ago. In the young rider competition, Jan Ullrich has been outstanding and leads by virtue of his second place overall. This year, this classification has been dedicated to the memory of the Italian Fabio Casatelli, the Olympic champion who died in the race last year when he crashed in the Pyrenees. During the race's passage through the mountains, the Tour de France visited the new memorial on the Col de Porte d'Aspet. Race director Jean-Marie Leblanc, Casatelli's Motorola team manager Jim Okowitz, and rider and teammate Frankie Andreo, seen here placing a wreath, were present at a short but moving ceremony. And the Tour de France will always remember Fabio Casatelli, as we all will. Back to the race now, here to Hendaye, and the riders forming at the front, looking for a chance to slip the field. It's been a day for the sprinters. Zabel has added a few more points to his overall lead in the green jersey competition. He's making that competition now his very own. The small climbs have not produced anything really spectacular, but this breakaway that's got away is now going to treat us to a two-man sprint here between Christian N, another Telekom man, the champion of Germany, and Bart Voskamp of the TVM squad. The winds have been very, very strong today, blowing in off the ocean, and Voskamp, a Dutchman, has manoeuvred Hen into the lead here and forced him to lead out. Hen is now going to have to make a long sprint of it, and coming on the protected side of the wind is Voskamp, and Voskamp, well, he gets the stage win for TVM, and that will go alongside the stage win of Jeroen Blijlevens way back at the beginning of this tour. But overall, no change at all today. Ullrich is still second, Virenque still third. And so the calm before the storm as the riders now face up for the long ride to Bordeaux, and then the time trial tomorrow. 140.7 miles today. And not surprisingly, the riders enjoying some very, very nice countryside, and the views aren't bad either. As the race now continues to be a battle for the green jersey, and Moncassin again taking on Zabel, losing there at the town of Lyon after 83 kilometres. Baldato snatched the third place. Fabio Baldato sprinting better and better as this tour goes on. But the field refusing to crack under the pressures as we're now starting to wind up for the finish as we approach the city of Bordeaux, always a domain of the sprinters, and Chris Boardman here launching an attack. He's had a rough ride through the mountains, but he appears to be coming out quite strongly now. But they've gone right around him as they race for the line. It's a Rabobank rider who's gone, and I don't think on this it could be Danny Nelson, but anyway, I can't tell you from this height, but in fact he's gone for the line. And the field are after him under the 1 kilometre to go banner now. The whole field still together. And this could be another win for Eric Zabel. You know, he's been sprinting so well. He's had 2 stage wins so far. The team have worked hard to keep him all together. That looks like the style now of Vyacheslav Yekimov on the right of our picture, as he still tries to get that elusive stage win with a last kilometre run at the line. But they're coming right up to him, and I think they have him under control. Zabel I've caught a glimpse of in the green jersey. It's being led out now by Christian Hen, the Telekom rider, who was second yesterday, and a big surge now coming up on the left-hand side. Baldato is down there too. Abdu Japarov has got in on the action. Andre Schmil is off to the left, and this is going to be a very good finish indeed. There's Zabel, and he's got Moncassin on his wheel. They're switching around a bit. Andre Schmil has made a break for the line. He's being chased by an MG rider. I think it's Bartoli. But now the run is coming, and still Zabel and Moncassin have yet to make a move. Right into the centre of our picture now. Zabel is coming. He's got Moncassin on his wheel, and Moncassin is coming off his wheel. Moncassin has got it on the line with a fabulous piece of sprinting. That was judged to inch perfection by Frédéric Moncassin. And that will be his second stage win of this year's Tour de France, but I don't think it'll be enough now to win in the green points jersey in Paris. Even so, a stage win is a stage win, and it was led out here by Fabio Baldato, who crashed out of the race a year ago, and he didn't quite have the legs to hang on to the line. Look at the surge here coming from Eric Zabel, but it was read perfectly by Frédéric Moncassin, who was moving at full speed. First of all, the sprinters were together, and then they fanned out. Moncassin, Zabel, Baldato. That's the order on the line, 3 top sprinters. And the green jersey stays with Eric Zabel, and that's going to be his now in Paris. 129 riders left in the Tour de France now as we head up for the moment of truth. Driving 62.5 kilometres in a little more than an hour in a car, nothing but a leisurely drive. Try doing it on a bike in a time trial in the Tour de France. It personifies pain and suffering. The riders call the time trial the race of truth. It really is the ultimate battle between man and machine. And for everybody now, it should mean the final reshuffling of the classification. Chris Boorman, will he fight back and land a good one? He set the mark during the time trial from an early mark out in the climb up to Val-d'Isère. Now this time trial should suit him even more, if of course he's feeling okay, and the indications are he's leading at the checks. Miguel Indurain, here he is flying through. He's chasing the time of Chris Boorman. 1:16.22, he's well inside Chris. This is going to be a great ride by Big Mig. He will go fastest on the board after Boorman. 1:18 for Boorman, 1:16 for Miguel Indurain. A little cobble street in the beautiful, beautiful town of Saint-Emilion. They've all worked so hard to make this a great day out for everybody on the Tour de France today. Indurain refuses to lie down, and I'm sure will go to the Atlanta Olympic Games and do his very best to snatch a gold medal in the time trial there. But this has developed now into a personal battle between the Festina riders, Richard Virenque and his teammate Laurent Dufaux. Virenque now coming home. This could switch around the overall classification for the 3rd and 4th place. It's been an extraordinarily good ride by Virenque, because look at the time. Virenque crosses the line, 1:18.01. That is going to keep him high up on the leaderboard and might well keep him 3rd in Paris. Very good ride indeed by him. But the times are about to be rewritten, I think, because Ullrich has closed in, having started behind Richard Virenque. Now Jan Ullrich is going to do a great time here that should put him on top of the leaderboard. This young man, who is a great time trial rider, the German Cycling Federation gave him a choice: the time trial in the Olympic Games or the Tour de France. He took the Tour de France, and he's going to win the time trial, I think. 1:15.31. He has been up on Bjarne Riis all of the way by quite big margins. So Bjarne Riis is going to have to pull out something absolutely sensational now if he's going to knock off the top of the leaderboard Jan Ullrich, his young teammate. Riis is going to concede quite a big slice of his overall lead to Jan Ullrich, and it now just goes to show how wise Riis was to take all of the time he could when he was out there on the mountains of the Pyrenees and in the Alps, because Ullrich is finishing this tour so well and has to be seen as a winner of the future. But this year now, it's going to be Bjarne Riis who will get Denmark's first ever win in the Tour de France. Tomorrow they go to Paris, and Bjarne Riis is coming home, no, not as the winner of the time trial, but his lead too much to be damaged too much today, although Ullrich has certainly closed in 2nd place overall. Bjarne Riis heads up to the finishing line now. He's going to concede a little bit of his time today, but Jan Ullrich will take the victory. There's Ullrich's time of 1:15.31. As Riis comes up to the line here, he's conceding more than 2 minutes of his overall lead to Jan Ullrich. And that's going to make it look a little bit more fragile when we look at the record books in the year to come. Ullrich wins from Miguel Indurain, who is on his way back. But overall, look at that now. Ullrich has closed in to 1 minute and 41 seconds. The last stage, stage number 21, Bastille to Paris, 147.5 kilometres, and that is the sight they've all waited to see. Eros Poly, little premature celebration, even if the bottom of the glass is broken. Well, it doesn't matter now, does it? It's all broken. On to the finish now, the riders approaching the end of what has been one of the most remarkable Tours de France this year, and a tremendous race it has been too. The breakaway, which has been away for virtually all of the laps here on the Champs-Élysées, it looks like being wiped out. André Schmil tapped in on the back of that breakaway, but the main field have been working very hard to close it down. The breakaway went on the first lap, but it is now coming back in together as the riders line up for the finish. The 129 survivors, and that is all of this viciously hard Tour de France. The last man for the record books is Master Puy of the Agrigel team. He will finish this tour almost 4 hours behind the winner, Bjarne Riis of Denmark. Into the tunnel now for the last time and out into the daylight again. The riders lining up for a sprint. This has been a great tour for the great sprinters as well. They've all been here. Cipollini again will not see the finish in Paris. He made his mark very early on. In fact, not very far away at Wascal when the tour came into France in the north. Now they go back down the Place de la Concorde, heading towards the finish here. 1 kilometre to go. Will the sprinters hang on and have their day yet again? First of all, they've got to catch that little breakaway, which contains Pascal Rashad, Johan Museo. They're all up there. But I think they will now, because you can't hold back floodwaters of this pressure as they come towards the breakaway. They are catching them. The breakaway itself knows it's all over. They can sit back. They have a grandstand seat now for the sprinters. There'll be the dash across the Place de la Concorde, the right flick, and there's one rider there trying desperately to survive to the end, but he's not going to do it now. I think it's Flavio Vanzella of Motorola who's made the dash for the line. But the field is all together. As the field make the right turn for the finish now, it's going to be a day for the sprinters. Schmil is still in there, right on the front as they make the turn. Now they will see the finishing banner, and it's going to be a battle. Baldato is in the centre of the picture as they try to reach the finish first, but it's not going to be for the breakaway. Schmil and co are being wiped away as the top sprinters come on the left. Baldato, Moncassin, Zabel, Blyleven's coming now. Baldato trying to hold on. Abdu Japarov's there. Fabio Baldato gets it. That was a sprint royale. Every top sprinter, and I think they've all landed in the top 5 places on the stage. The victory going to Fabio Baldato from Frederic Moncassin on the right, and on the far left of our picture, Jerome Blylevens. He gets there, but what a just result. The man who hadn't won the stage so far gets it now. But the man has won the Tour de France, Bjarne Riis of Denmark, the first time ever for a Dane to win the Tour. He's won it well from a man who I'm sure will win this Tour in the future, Jan Ullrich, a minute 41 advantage. Richard Virenque climbs onto the podium as well in 3rd place after a great battle with his teammate Laurent Dufaux, who gets 4th. The Danish flag flying high on the Champs-Élysées as they salute the crowd, and Zabel, the first German since 1990 to get green. This has been Denmark's Tour. What a great feeling it must be for Riis and the crowd. They've enjoyed a day really very special.